Today I'm going to be ranking every gun in Roblox Rivals from worst to best. I actually did a video like this before, but after the new update I feel the need to update this list. So if you want to know the worst and the best gun in the game, then be sure to watch until the end of the video. And of course I'm going to be giving away a legendary key bundle and a season 1 bundle for 100,000 subscribers. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is like, subscribe, watch to the end of the video, and comment which one of the two you want. And with that being said, let's get on with today's video. Alright, and coming in last place, I don't even know if I wanted to add this to the video, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyway because it's technically a primary, but this is the Scepter. If you don't know what this is actually a game mode exclusive. This is only in the RNG game mode, which I thought they were going to add this to the actual main game at some point, but I don't think they ever will. And if you don't know, this thing basically, it's like the Exo gun but worse because it does splash damage, but as you can see, the actual bullet travels super slow. You only get like 30 rounds. It shoots pretty fast though, that's one thing I will give it. And then on the off chance that you actually do roll this thing, it doesn't happen very often, you know. It happens like once every like 30-40 rolls, something like that. I sat here for a couple minutes trying to get this thing just for the video, but it's a very cool looking weapon, but I mean it's literally just in this game mode. It's hard to roll, and it's just in general not all that great of a weapon. Like, it'd be great if they actually added this to the game, but like I said, I don't think they ever will, so that's why it's in last place, because I just can't justify placing this thing any higher when it's literally only in this game mode and is not very good. So that's the Scepter. Don't really see this thing very often. It's very hard to come by, but it is pretty interesting. I will give it that. So bonus points for that, I guess. Next up, we have the Gunblade. I used to place this thing slightly higher in my last list, but pretty much every gun except for the Gunblade got buffed. In fact, I think the Gunblade, I'm not sure if it got buffed or it got nerfed. I know it got some change, but the change that it got wasn't big enough to justify placing this thing any higher. So it's going to be not exactly last place, but pretty darn close. I mean, it's pretty good when you're like right up in somebody's face, but other than that, it's not very great. I mean, I enjoy using it sometimes, but I don't see the reason to use this over some other guns like the assault rifle or almost literally anything else. So yeah, that's the Gunblade. Not great. I wouldn't really use this personally. Just sometimes it's fun, but it's not gonna be winning you the most games, that's for sure. Next up, we have the energy rifle, which I actually have a pretty cool skin on this. This is definitely one of my favorite skins, but that doesn't make it any better of a weapon. The damage is pretty low. The body shot is 20. It does have this cool ricochet effect. As you can see, it can bounce off walls and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't find that very useful in most cases. Like, it can help sometimes. There used to be this strategy on Arena to where you could like shoot a specific spot and it would go straight to their spawn, but I can't justify that now because that's not in the game anymore. They changed the effect on it and it's just different now. Also, I don't know why I'm on French servers, but that's beside the point. So yeah, I mean, this thing, pretty low damage. You can shoot as much as you want though. You don't have to reload, and that's nice sometimes, but I mean, when you have options like the minigun to where you're probably not going to have to reload anyway, I mean, it's just kind of pointless. Not to mention that this thing actually costs Robux. This isn't a free weapon, it's a prime weapon, so it comes with the energy bundle, and for the fact that you have to spend Robux to get this thing, it's actually very disappointing. I mean, you get the energy pistols with it too, and that kind of makes up for it, but at the same time, it's like, for a primary that you have to pay for, this is definitely like one of the worst primaries. Definitely not my favorite gun in the game. There's better out there. Yeah, and overall, this is just not a very fun experience. Next up, we have the RPG, which I used to place this in like the very last place, but this actually got a buff recently that makes the rocket faster. See, like, oh my god, I just got a double kill. Basically, like when you shoot your rocket, it travels a lot faster, so you don't have to aim ahead as much, which makes this thing a lot more usable. Of course, the damage on this could be a lot better. It's like 50 body shot, 100 critical hit, so at most you're gonna have to two-shot somebody with this unless if they're already low, which that's kind of annoying. But I mean, this is a pretty cool gun. You get cool skins like this one. This is like the squid launcher or whatever it's called, and then you get the pencil skin, which I think the pencil bundle, the RPG bundle, whatever it's called, is actually kind of a waste of money, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you're kind of paying money for a skin on a gun that's really not all that great, but it is what it is. I think the RPG is pretty fun sometimes. It's not the worst gun in the game, but it's really not super great either. I've been recognized, yay. But there is one gun that is pretty similar to this that I think is actually way better. And that gun's actually the grenade launcher because this thing got a buff as well. The grenades travel faster on here too. So basically I got the same buff as the RPG, but it has 6 bullets and it does somewhat similar damage. It's like 40 body shots. So it's a little worse damage, but it doesn't really matter all that much to be quite honest, because you get like 6 rounds, right? See, I can just kill these guys. It's 80 critical, which is pretty good. And of course, one thing that helps this out a lot is that you can actually get the glass wrap with this thing. If you grind, I think it's 24 hours of playtime, which it's not exactly my thing. I prefer to see my gun, but if you're a very competitive player, then the glass wrap is definitely very, very helpful. So that's one thing that is good about this, which again, like I said, not really my thing, but it's pretty good. And then you can do some silly stuff like this. You can just travel across the map and yeah, boom, you're just at the other side of the map. So pretty cool. This is very good for people that, you know, like to do backstabs, which I find to be annoying, but it is what it is. Let me kill this guy right here. Well, bam, you're dead. Next up, we have the bow, which this thing also got buffed recently. As you can see, the charge up time is a lot faster on this thing, but the actual percent that you can charge it up to is changed to from 250 to 200, which isn't very fun. I mean, it charges up faster, sure, but the charge up like at max doesn't do as much damage as it used to, which it is what it is. But I mean, nowadays it's like, I used to just spam like the normal bow over and over again because I didn't want to wait for the charge up, but now it's like, it charges up so fast that you don't even have to really spam the normal bow anymore because the charge up is almost instant. Like, I can't lie. Unless if there's like somebody right in your face, you have no reason not to charge it up and do the extra damage. I honestly think the bow now is definitely a lot better of a gun than it was before, even if the charge up only goes to 200% now instead of 250. It's still a pretty enjoyable gun. I'm not sure if this placed lower or higher than I placed it at during the last list. I think it's actually pretty similar to what I ranked it before, but there's so many guns aside from the bow that's gotten changed, and there's even been a new weapon added altogether. So I wanted to place this higher, but it is what it is. It's still a very, very good weapon. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have, in my opinion, one of the most underrated guns in the game. This is the Crossbow. This thing is basically like a sniper, but more forgiving. You can do 75 damage to the head, which is a 2-shot, which it's a very, very good long-range based weapon. I mean, I just got a double kill right here. So if I'm getting double kills, then it's a pretty good weapon because I suck at this game. Guy right there. Hold on, I missed completely. Yeah, this is a very accurate weapon. It's not a projectile like the actual bow is. So it's a lot more accurate, you know, in that sense. It goes exactly where you aim it is what I'm trying to say. So you don't have to like aim ahead of the enemy or aim above the enemy or anything like that. And this is very, very good with auto shoot. Definitely one of the better guns with auto shoot because this actually with the katana, right, you know, this doesn't reflect back at you. So people that want auto shoot to be even more forgiving than it already is, you have that, you know, just in case if like your enemy, you know, say you're playing on controller and your enemy has the katana and you don't want to get your head sniped off, so you just whip out this instead and then boom, you're good. Very great gun. If you don't use this, especially if you have auto shoot, I definitely recommend giving it another try. Next up, we have the new gun in the game, which is the Distortion. This thing, of course, is basically like an automatic shotgun with not great damage, but a lot of ammo. And you also have this, which is the portal ability. You can get people stuck like that, which is pretty funny. It can get people in pretty tricky situations, and then you can just throw like a Molotov on top of that guy, and then boom, they're dead pretty much. Which is it's kind of hard to show off here. It'd be easier in like a 1v1, but since I'm in the arcade server, I'm not going to show it off quite really. You can also put like a, you know, you could put a trip mine here and maybe blow the guy up if you're lucky, but there you go, boom. It's a pretty fun gun to use. Let me see if I can get this guy my trip mine. No, he ran away. Okay, wait right here. Yeah. I got him. That was hilarious. Very hilarious. Let me see if I can get him trapped. Oh wait, yeah, you have to wait for the vortex to cool down, which is 30 seconds. That's one negative that I haven't mentioned about this. So the cooldown for the actual black hole, it's pretty long. 30 seconds in-game time. It's a lot more than you think. Yeah, this is a very enjoyable gun. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the normal shotgun because the shotgun itself actually got buffed in the most recent update, but overall the Distortion's a very, very good weapon. The only thing that sucks right now is that not everybody has it because it costs, like I said, you know, it costs Robux. Also, there's no critical hits, which that's another thing that sucks about this thing. Next up, we have one of the best close-range guns in the game, the Flamethrower. I didn't place this quite as high, mostly just because after a couple steps out of range, this thing is kind of useless. And you can run out of the gas pretty quickly, but sometimes this thing can lead to some funny moments with the air blast mechanic. You can kind of just like blast people off the map. Hopefully I can kind of show what I'm talking about. I can't really do it on this map specifically, but like this guy right here, you can use the air blast, and I pushed him all the way over there. So imagine that on like construction, for example, to where you can fall off the map really easily, you can literally just push your enemy off the map, and that leads to some funny moments. But, you know, when you're up close like this, you can do a lot of damage, but once someone's a little farther out, not great. That's why you have to have a pretty good secondary to match this with, like the energy pistols, for example, or maybe, you know, like the revolver. Those would go very well with this thing. This is kind of easy to counter though, but a lot of people don't know how to counter this. Basically, all you need is the smoke grenade. If someone's using this, throw a smoke grenade on yourself, it puts out the fire. So that's something to keep in mind. So if there's ever somebody spamming flamethrower and annoying you really badly, just whip out smoke grenades and then you're good. Okay, next up we have another close range gun in the game. This is the shotgun. This gun just got buffed, which is the only reason why I'm placing it as high as I am. They buffed the damage on this thing. The minimum damage is so much better on this than it was before. Before it was like 18.75 and now it's like 25. As you can see, I mean, it does some pretty hefty damage, right? Especially with critical hits, it's just so good right now. But again, it comes into question, like, you know, how effective is this at range, which it's better now than it was before, but it's still not enough to justify placing this thing any higher. You have to be pretty close for this thing to be really effective. And again, you have to use a pretty good secondary with this thing. As I mentioned before with the flamethrower, you can be a little more relaxed with that. You can use, you know, a wider variety of secondaries. You know, you could pair this with the slingshot and still do pretty good. But overall, very good weapon. Definitely better after this most recent buff. Very good change on this. Next up, we have the burst rifle. The burst rifle got a nerf somewhat recently, but I still think it's a pretty solid primary. It only has 15 rounds. Before it used to have 20. The damage on this thing isn't all that bad, though. That's the one thing that's kind of holding this together compared to some other primaries, especially after this thing got nerfed. I mean, like I said, it used to have like 20 rounds, and now it's just 15, so it's a little disappointing. You run out of ammo so much easier with this. It's just something you have to be a little mindful of. But the critical hit damage on this thing is super good. That's one thing that I love about this. And I know burst isn't exactly for everybody. I know a lot of people just don't like burst. They prefer like automatic, which I'm kind of one of those guys, but I think burst rifle is a little bit of an exception because I personally really enjoy this thing. You know, I think it's not a super bad gun, especially for burst. So like I said, burst isn't really for everybody. I understand it if you like don't like this thing simply because you like the normal assault rifle better. And the funny thing is, this actually used to be one of the best guns in the game, maybe the best, like when Rivals was a brand new game. I remember like all the really good players were just grinding this thing out because it was that good. But now it's kind of fallen from grace a lot. But overall, I think this is still a very good primary. I just wouldn't catch myself using this all the time. Next up, we have the paintball gun. The thing that I love about the paintball gun is that, you know, this has a very similar magazine capacity compared to the burst rifle. You get 16 rounds on the burst rifle, you get 15. What I love about the paintball gun, though, is that the damage is super high on this thing. Like, this is a very heavy hitting gun. You don't get very much rounds in reserve, though, so that's another thing you have to be conscious about. You only get like one reload with this thing, and then you're in for, right? So I wouldn't exactly use this on anything other than like 1v1s or 2v2s. Like, I like this thing a lot, but the ammo is kind of a problem with this thing from time to time. This is part of the classic bundle, so you do have to pay Robux for it, but I think in terms of like paid guns, this is definitely one of the best ones. Definitely one of the better primaries in the entire game, right? Like, I love the paintball gun. It's so good. It also blinds people when you like shoot a headshot, which is pretty funny. As you can see, there's a paint splatter on my screen right there. Kind of like the squid from Mario Kart. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But yeah, this thing's a great gun. I find myself picking this up a lot. Very heavy hitting, very good. And it's automatic, which is also very nice. Next up, we have my personal favorite gun in the entire game, the minigun. This thing can absolutely shred people if you really know what you're doing. The one reason I really don't want to place it any higher is because this actually kind of sucks for mobile and console players, you know, people that play with auto shoot. Because the tracking's not quite as good on those devices, even if, you know, you have pretty good tracking. It's just harder to use on controller and mobile compared to PC. But if you are a PC player, this is definitely one of maybe the best gun in the entire game. It did get a slight nerf recently, which wasn't exactly a huge nerf. I didn't think it was that noticeable personally. Basically, when you aim in, it used to be 100% accurate, but now there's a little bit of a spread to it, which really not that big of a deal. You don't really notice it on maps other than like crossroads or big crossroads. It just makes it a little less effective at range. But overall, I still think it's a very super good gun, especially on free-for-all, which I'm playing on right now. This is definitely the best free-for-all weapon, period, if you just want to get a lot of kills. And a lot of people like to complain about the movement on this thing, but I don't think it's that bad. Like, you're slow, sure, but you can still jump around around and strafe and do all that stuff. I love this thing to death. This is my favorite gun in the entire game. I don't have diamond on it yet, so if you want to see me grind out diamond on like some live streams, then let me know. That's something that I want to do at some point, definitely. Yeah, minigun, very, very good. Next up, we have the sniper, which I'm not a super big fan of this thing just because I'm not good at sniping. But if you have like controller or mobile, this thing's like super insane because you got that auto shoot advantage. So if you have auto shoot, this is probably the best gun in the game, like not even gonna lie, because you can just almost immediately one tap people. Then the only problem would be like the katana. That's the only thing you have to worry about with this thing, because if you one shot somebody when they have the katana out, well, that kills you instead. So that's the only bad thing about it. But yeah, very good gun. You have to have pretty good aim for this thing to be super effective, but like I said, it's not a problem for mobile and controller players. And even if you're on PC, bro, just hook up a controller, then boom, you have auto shoot. Like, it's actually that easy. Can't even lie. Of course, coming up in first place, we of course have the assault rifle once again. This is definitely the most consistent gun in the entire game. I wish these guys wouldn't place flares everywhere because my game's lagging so bad. But yeah, this is the most consistently good weapon in the game. You don't get too many rounds. I'd prefer it if you had 30 rounds on this thing instead of 20, but it is what it is. The reload's not too bad. Yeah, let me just destroy that guy. You can kill one person with an entire magazine super easily if you hit like a ton of headshots, which I'm not super great with. Yeah, I think pretty much everyone saw this coming in at number 1. I mean, this is just generally considered to be the best gun in the entire game by most people. It's what most people use during ranked. It's what most professional players, I say professional, there is no professional players, but this is what most good players play with, is what I should say. I mean, I guess I'm technically a professional player because I get paid to make videos on this game, but it is it is what it is, I guess. Let me kill this guy. Goodbye. Let me know what your lists are in the comments below, and subscribe for more Rivals videos just like this. See that video on screen? Yeah, YouTube thinks that you'd like it, so go ahead, give it a click, and if you did enjoy the video, drop a like and subscribe.